Hello friends, today's discussion will be on conditions and warranties, which is part of Sale of Goods Act 1930 as Unit 2 of your material. Let's see what is conditions and warranties all about and the related issues. Pretty simple chapter, nothing to worry about it, but of course in line with Sale of Goods Act, without this chapter other things may become redundant in understanding the whole concept together. Let's see what is conditions and warranties. What is meant by condition? A condition is a stipulation essential to the main purpose of the contract, the breach of which gives rise to a right to treat the contract as repudiated. Section 12, subsection 2. What do you understand by this? Let's break it up into small pieces. It is a stipulation essential. Stipulation, as I already mentioned, condition and stipulation are interchangeary words. It is a main important element. So it is an important essential, understand it this way, it is an important essential part of the main purpose of the contract, the breach of which, that is, if the main purpose of the contract is breached, is not performed, then it gives rise to a right to treat. That means if the main purpose of the contract is breached, not performed, it gives rise to a right to treat the contract as repudiated. Repudiated here refers to cancellation. So isn't it simple? Just try and correlate what I am trying to explain here. What is meant by a condition? Condition means an important essential element of the contract, the breach of which, that means the non-performance of which, gives rise the right to treat the contract as cancelled. As simple as that. That means whenever there is a contract and there is a main element in the contract, if the main element in the contract is not performed, then it gives a right for the other party to treat such non-performance as cancellation of a contract, repudiation of a contract. So I hope what is meant by condition is clear. Let's go on to understand what is meant by warranty. Similarly, you see this repetitive words, but little changes, subtle changes. Observe the subtle changes. It is a stipulation collateral. Here the word collateral is used. Here the word essential is used. So it is a stipulation collateral. Collateral means secondary. It is not primary, it is secondary. It is a stipulation secondary to the main purpose of the contract. It is not the main purpose of the contract, but it is only secondary to the main purpose of the contract, the breach of which, that is the non-performance of which, gives rise the right to claim for damages. Observe the difference. Here it is giving rise to the right to treat the contract as cancelled, but here it is giving the right to claim for damages, but not a right to reject the goods and treat the contract as repudiated. So what are we trying to understand in section 12 subsection 3? We are trying to understand what is meant by warranty. Three keywords you have to keep in mind. One is collateral, two is claim of damages, and three, you can't treat the contract as cancelled. Repeat again. It is a stipulation, it is important, agreed, but it is collateral to the main purpose, it is secondary to the main purpose of the contract, the breach of which, that is the secondary part, if it is not performed, then it only gives the right to claim damages. It does not give the right for the other party to reject the goods and cancel the contract, is what warranty explains. So when it comes to condition, you have to keep three words in your mind. One is it is essential to the main purpose of the contract. Two, there should be breach of that main purpose. Three, the contract can get repudiated because it is a matter of right for the other party. When it comes to warranty, again you have to keep in mind three keywords. That is, one, it is collateral to the main purpose of the contract, that is secondary to the main purpose of the contract. 2, there should be a breach. 3, the person who is suffered, that is the aggrieved party, if at all he can choose only to claim damages, but he cannot reject the goods and cancel the contract. Am I clear with the explanation of what is meant by condition and what is meant by warranty? Let's move on to understand the differences between conditions and warranties. Most of the differences I have explained here. I'm just summing it up. One, it is essential to the main purpose of the contract. That is, condition is an essential part of the main purpose of the contract. It is the main purpose of the contract. Well, the warranty part, it is only collateral to the main purpose of the contract. It is only secondary to the main purpose of the contract. I shall give examples by the end of this differences. Second, as far as condition is concerned, aggrieved party, that is the suffered party, can repudiate, that is cancel the contract or claim for damages, or both in case there is a breach, that is in case there is a non-performance. The conditions second point says the aggrieved party who is suffered, that is the party who is suffered, can repudiate the contract, that is cancel the contract, or claim for damages, or combination of both, that is cancel and claim for damages if there is a non-performance, that is in case of breach. Vis-a-vis that, when we see warranty, we understand aggrieved party, that is the suffered party, can only claim damages in the case of breach. He does not get the right to treat the contract as cancelled. He has only one right, that is the claim for damages. Third one, a breach of condition may be treated as a breach of warranty voluntarily. When we can see that in the next part of it, a breach of condition may be treated as breach of warranty, that is breach of the primary condition. Non-performance of the primary condition can be treated as non-performance of a secondary condition. When, how that can be done, I will explain it to you in the next part. Whereas the reverse is not possible, that is a breach of a warranty, a breach of a secondary collateral transaction cannot be treated as a breach of condition. Am I clear? It's simple. A breach of condition may be treated as breach of warranty, whereas the reverse is not true, that is a breach of warranty cannot be treated as breach of condition. Are we clear about it? Let's see a case of an example. Let's say a person buys a car. The car, for all practical purposes, we understand that it is a movable product, and we start the engine, and we, of course, there should be petrol or diesel or electrically operated vehicles. You start and the car moves. Let's say while at the time of sale of car, the representation made by the seller to the buyer was car is perfectly fine in all possible ways. And at the time when the delivery of the car takes place, let's say there is no wheels in it. Let's say there is no wheels in it. Then it is definitely a primary condition which is getting breached. When we understand that it is a car, it is movable, obviously the existence of wheels becomes very critical. Where there is absence of wheels, and when the representation which was made saying that the car is available for sale with all due respect, it's in workable condition, in the absence of wheels in it is a breach of a primary condition. So it gives the right for the buyer to either cancel the contract or to claim damages or to claim both, that is damages as well as cancel the contract. Am I clear with the example for warranty? I mean the example for condition. Let me give the same example for warranty. Sir, we understand that in car the wheels are pretty important, and engine, chassis, driving pleasure, all those things are pretty important. Let's say the car does not have a toolkit. When the representation was made, it was made with full car, including everything. But unfortunately, at the time of delivery or at the time of execution of the contract, let's say a toolkit, that is a spare part toolkit, your spanners, nuts, bolts, then screwdrivers, such toolkit was not available. In such a case, the buyer can treat the breach as a breach of warranty only and not a breach of condition, because that toolkit is only a secondary part for the main contract. It is not the primary part. Hence, the absence of toolkit in the car can lead to give a rise to claim of damages only, and does not give rise a right to the buyer to cancel the contract. It can give rise at the best to claim of damages. Am I clear with the explanation for what is meant by a condition and what is meant by warranty? Now, in the last part, I discussed that a breach of condition may be treated as breach of warranty, while the vice versa is not true. So we can understand, we will go through when is the situation a condition can be treated as warranty. Let's see that one by one. First one, where there is a waiver of performance altogether. Where there is a waiver means giving up, where the buyer itself waives off the condition as breach of condition, then obviously the breach of condition can be treated as breach of warranty. That means he can claim only for damages. Sir, can you please explain that with an example? Yes, of course. Say in the same car where the car was about to be delivered, there were no wheels. Keep in mind, the toolkit example was a different example for warranty. The wheels example is a different example for condition. When at the point of delivery of the car, let's say the car had no wheels in it, then if the buyer waives off the breach of condition, it can be treated as a breach of warranty. In other words, the buyer can tell, listen, I will continue to execute this contract provided I will file a case on you for damages for claim of the cost of wheels which I am going to put to the car and use the car. If the seller agrees, obviously, then it's a case of understanding between each other and moving ahead with the contract. Here, please try to understand that waiver, that means when the car was taken for delivery, wheels were not there, the buyer has agreed to waive off the main condition, that wheels which were essential, primary for the contract. He says that he is ready to put new tires for it, new wheels for it, provided there is a claim for damages only, for which if the seller agrees, they move on. In such situation, we can say that waiver of performance altogether leads to a change of breach of condition as breach of warranty. I hope the example was clear. Next, where the buyer elects to treat the breach of condition as that of breach of warranty, may claim damages without cancellation. As I already told you, where voluntarily if the buyer elects to treat, the breach of condition as a breach of warranty, then he can claim only for damages. Now, what is the difference between the first point and the second point, sir? Yes, there is a little difference. The first point says waiver of performance altogether. That means if the buyer says, okay, the contract which you have given me with a car with all the wheels, I don't want your wheels, I am going to put another set of wheels, then it is a waiver of condition altogether. Without claim of damages or with claim of damages, that is subject to the discussion between the buyer and seller. So let's say a 14-inch tire, if the buyer wants to replace it by an 18-inch tire, you have seen those fat tires which are sports made tires used in different cars. If that is the case, then the buyer may completely waive off the performance altogether. In such scenario, we can call that a breach of condition is treated as breach of warranty. While in the second case, the example what I gave you can be in a similar pattern, wherein a 14-inch tires which the buyer was supposed to get along with the car may be requested by the buyer to seller in such a way that, listen, seller, I am ready to continue with the contract provided you put that 14-inch tires and give me, I will take delivery. If such is the case, then the breach of condition can be treated as breach of warranty and claim of only damages rises over that. Well, the third point, contract is non-severable. Severable means which can be separated. Non-severable means which cannot be separated. Means where a contract is non-severable, where a contract cannot be separated, and the buyer has accepted the whole or any part of the contract, then the breach of condition is by default converted into breach of warranty. What do you mean by this? When a contract is severable, we can separate it. We can separate A with B and take only B as a delivery or only A as a delivery. When it is non-severable, I have to take A and B together. When A and B cannot be taken together, then only we say, when A and B cannot be taken separately, then we say it is non-severable. When a contract is non-severable, in spite of its non-severability, if the buyer has accepted the whole or any part of the contract or any part of the goods, then he is bound to accept and continue the contract by the concept of converting breach of condition as breach of warranty. Of course, he has a right to claim damages for it. That is by default, we get that under warranty. And the last part is excused by law due to impossibility or otherwise. In Contract Act, we have seen there is doctrine of supervening impossibility, doctrine of frustration, force majeure. Force majeure means an act of God. So, if there is an act of God or by way of impossibility of performance, which is doctrine of impossibility, wherein it is impossible to perform due to the fact that neither the buyer or seller were held responsible for non-performance, in such cases, then breach of condition can be treated as breach of warranty, which may lead to only claim of damages, but contract cannot be repudiated or contract cannot be cancelled in such scenario. I hope the concept of condition and warranty is clearly explained to you. Please go through once again. If you have any doubts, clarifications, please do mail me across to lohitacademy@gmail.com. I will revert back to you. In the next session, we will see certain implied condition, implied warranties, which adds more value to this concept of what we have just learned. Thank you very much. Wait for my next session.